So it's given that cotangent of data equals negative 4/3 and sine of data is negative. We need to find the values of other trigonometric functions. So first we know that if cotangent of data equals negative 4/3, that means that the absolute value of cotangent of data equals 4/3. As we know, cotangent of the absolute value of cotangent of data equals base divided by perpendicular. So we know that this equals 4/3. Then we can assume that base equals 4x and perpendicular equals 3x. As we know, hypotenuse squared equals perpendicular squared plus base squared. So here we get that this equals 3x squared plus 4x squared. This equals 9x squared plus 16x squared. So it equals 25x squared. In this case, hypotenuse equals 5x. Well, now we can find sine of data. So the absolute value of sine of data equals perpendicular divided by hypotenuse. So it equals 3x over 5x, so it equals 3/5. Then we know that the absolute value of cosine of data equals base divided by hypotenuse. So it equals 4x over 5x, so it's 4/5. Next, tangent of the absolute value of tangent of data equals perpendicular over base, so it equals 3x over 4x, and this is 3/4. And cosecant of data equals hypotenuse over perpendicular, so it equals 5x over 3x, and this is 5/3. And finally, secant of data equals hypotenuse over base, and this is 5x over 4x, so this 5/4. Well, now since we know that sine of data is negative, that means that we know that sine of data is negative and also cotangent of data is negative. And now we need to understand that in the first quadrant, all trigonometric functions are positive. In the second quadrant, sine and cosecant trigonometric functions are positive and the rest of the functions are negative. In the third quadrant, tangent and cotangent trigonometric functions are positive and the rest are negative. And in the fourth quadrant, cosine and secant trigonometric functions are positive and the rest of trigonometric functions are negative. So we can make a conclusion that since both sine and cotangent are negative in our case, then data lies in the fourth quadrant. So we can write it down. Fourth, let's write it like this. So sine is negative, sine data is negative, cotangent data is negative. So that means the data is in the fourth quadrant. Well, and since data is in the fourth quadrant, that means that cosine and secant functions are positive and the rest are negative. So we understand that sine of data is negative, so it's negative 3/5. Then cosine of data is positive, so it's 4/5. Then tangent of data is negative, so it's negative 3/4. Cosecant of data is negative, so it's negative 5/3, and secant of data is positive, so it's 5/4.